Hey everyone, certified lymphedema therapist here. Let's go step by step through a full body lymphatic drainage routine to help move fluid for a healthy lymphatic system. If you want a printable handout, check out the link in the description box down below. We want to start by stimulating the lymph nodes throughout your body. So we'll start in the abdomen area as you have a lot of lymph nodes in that region. Gently putting your hands on your belly and pressing inwards lightly. Take a nice big deep breath, feeling your belly expand into your hands, and then let your breath go. Move your hands into another area of the belly and repeat, and do that 3 or 4 times. Then we want to stimulate the lymph nodes that are right around the collarbone or the clavicle area, as all of the fluid in the body goes around to this area before going back to the heart. So putting your whole hand directly on the skin as able, doing 8 to 10 circles in either direction on both the left and the right side. Then splitting your fingers, putting your hands right around your ear, focusing on below your ear, doing 8 to 10 circles in either direction to stimulate the lymph nodes in this area. Take your full hand and put it in the armpit area, again directly on the skin. Do 8 to 10 circles on the left side. And then do 8 to 10 circles in the other armpit. The pressure should remain light as the lymph nodes are not deep. Lastly, your lymph nodes that are right around the groin area, we call inguinal lymph nodes, and we want to make sure we stimulate these as well. So doing 8 to 10 circles, ideally directly on your skin. Next, we want to break the body up into different sections because the lymphatic system is really in different directions based on where you're at. So thinking about drawing a line down the middle of the body and across at the belly button, we're going to work into different sections. So on the right side, we're working all the fluid upwards in short strokes towards the right armpit area. Again, this is always best to do directly on the skin, but doing 3 to 5 different strokes in each area that you can reach. If you're working up higher in the chest, you also want to work everything towards the armpit on that side. Then we can do the same thing on the opposite side, working everything above the belly button line and over on the left, up towards the armpit in the left side. This is where all the lymph nodes are, and all of the fluid in this quadrant or this region work upwards towards those lymph nodes to clear out of the area. So working 3 to 5 different strokes in each area is best. And now we're working into the left arm. We want to start closer to the armpit or the lymph nodes to clear out the area first before moving down the arm. So we started with the upper shoulder and now working into the upper arm. Doing 3 to 5 strokes on each side of the arm or each area. Moving from the elbow all the way up towards the shoulder or towards the armpit. If someone's in a position to put their arm above their heart and have it elevated, this can have gravity assist in moving the fluid out a little bit easier. Then we want to stimulate the lymph nodes that are right in front of the elbow and the crease there. So doing a few circles to stimulate those lymph nodes. And then we can also work behind the elbow, focusing on getting around the bones so fluids get stuck into that area. Then we're working down into the forearm. Same thing, doing 3 to 5 strokes on each side of the forearm. If you can use your whole hand and get as much surface area as possible, that's going to save you time and get the best effect. Then we can work down into the hand area as well as into the fingers. Trying to get in between the tendons on the back of the hand is going to be helpful, as that's where fluid also likes to sit. and then working into each finger. We can either do all the fingers at the same time, or if someone needs more support and have a little bit more swelling, then it may be better to do each finger individually. Once you've done enough at the hand, then we want to work back down to the forearm and start to move all of that fluid back up towards those lymph nodes. So we're moving back into the forearm area, doing 3 to 5 strokes on each side of the arm. Then we can go back around the elbow, working the fluid around the bone, and re-stimulate those lymph nodes in the front of the elbow crease. We're going to finish with the upper arm, making sure that you get all sides of the arm or as much you can reach, 3 to 5 strokes on each side. And then finish with the shoulder as well, getting as much of the area as you can reach, but wrapping that fluid around so it directs towards those lymph nodes. And then we can do the same thing on the opposite arm. Again, we want to start closest to the heart and then work our way down towards the hand because we want to clear out any congestion that's there first. So we're working on our shoulder area in the front and the back, working up and around before moving on to that upper arm. 3 to 5 strokes on each side of the arm or each area that you can reach. If you're having a difficult time reaching one area, try a different position, raising your arm up, or finding someone to assist you with those trouble spots. Once we've done the upper arm, then we're ready to go down towards the elbow. So remember, we have lymph nodes that are right in that elbow crease that we want to stimulate, as well as working around the elbow bone itself, because fluid likes to sit in between those crevices. After we spend some time around that area, then we're ready to go onto the lower arm or the forearm. So working from the wrist towards the elbow, 3 to 5 strokes on every side or each side of the forearm, using as much of your hand as possible to get as much surface area as possible. And you can have your arm up to help gravity play a role with this as well. Once you've done with the forearm area and spent as much time as you need, then we can move on to the hand and fingers.
Good.
So we're working on the back of the hand, getting in between those crevices between the tendons and the bones, and then working into the fingers. Either doing all the fingers at once, or if someone has more swelling, they may want to spend time in doing each finger individually before moving on. Remember to spend some time with the thumb and in between the crevice between the thumb and the hand because there's fluid that likes to sit there too. Then we can start to move the fluid out of that hand and finger area and start to move everything back up that we've cleared. So we're going back, moving to the wrist all the way up to the elbow, 3 to 5 strokes on each side of the arm. After we finish the forearm, then we can re-stimulate the lymph nodes in front of the elbow crease, as well as working the fluid around the elbow and then back up to the upper arm, doing 3 to 5 strokes on each side of the upper arm, or spend more time in any area that you may have more fluid or feel more swollen. Once we finish with the upper arm, then we want to finish with the shoulder area, getting all of that last fluid up and over the shoulder so it can move back towards the lymph nodes right in that armpit area. After we've done the upper body, then we're going to move down to the lower body. So remember, thinking about drawing a line across at the belly button, everything at the belly button level and below on the right side will actually move down towards the lymph nodes right in the groin area where that sitting crease is. We think about the low back and the hips and the glute. All of that fluid that's below the line of the belly button will run around the body towards the front where those lymph nodes are as well. Again, ideally, we're working directly on the skin whenever able. We're still doing 3 to 5 strokes in each area, spending the time that you need to clear out that congestion. Doing the same thing on the other side, thinking below the belly button level on the left side, everything will move towards the lymph nodes in that groin area right in front of the hip. So as we work around towards the side and then into the low back, the hip, and the glute area, that fluid will wrap around the body towards the front, towards those lymph nodes. And after we finish the pelvic area and the hip area, then we can start to work down the leg one at a time. When you're working down into the leg, you can do it in sitting, in standing, or in any position that makes it easy for you to reach the leg. If you have any difficulty, then you may also want to get help from another person. We're doing the same thing as we did in the upper body. We're starting closer towards those lymph nodes to clear out any congestion that may be blocking the fluid from below. So working from the knee area all the way up towards the hip, towards those lymph nodes in the groin. When you work in the back of the thigh, it's a little bit different, that fluid will actually wrap around towards the front, towards those lymph nodes. So we can start to guide up, but then start to wrap your hands around and guide the fluid up into the front. We're looking on the front of the leg, and we can work straight up as well as on the sides. And at the end, everything works towards the front of the hip. Then we're working around the knee. Try to get around the kneecap, around the bone, into those crevices. And then we're also going to work behind the knee. There are more lymph nodes back here where the fluid in the lower leg go to. So we want to do a couple circles or massaging to those lymph nodes behind the knee before moving on. Then working from the ankle area towards the knee, going back to those 3 to 5 strokes in each area or each side. The front can go straight up, the sides can go straight up, and the back of the lower leg can also go straight up towards the lymph nodes behind the knee in this area. After we've done the lower leg, then we can start to work in towards the ankle area as well as the foot and the toes. A lot of fluid likes to sit around those ankle bones, so use your fingers and get around the bones to try to guide that fluid out of there. And then working towards the top of the foot, in between those tendons and those stubborn areas, and then working on top of the toes. After we've done top of the toes, then we'll start to work that fluid up the foot, back around the ankle, reworking around the ankle bones, in the front of the ankle, where any of that stubborn fluid may be sitting. Then we'll start to work that fluid from the ankle all the way up to the knee area. 3 to 5 strokes on each side, using as much of your hands as possible, as much as you can reach for efficiency and effectiveness. Once we finish with the lower leg, then we'll work up towards the knee, working around the bone, around any crevices on the sides of the knee, through that stubborn area, and then going to the back of the knee, re-stimulating those lymph nodes, but also guiding the fluid likes to sit behind the knee as well. Then we'll finish up in the thigh area, working everything upwards, 3 to 5 strokes. And remember, if you're working in the back of the thigh, that fluid should start to wrap around towards the front of the hip or the front of that groin area. Once you spend as much time as you need to, we can make sure that we finish with the top of the hip, any fluid into those hip area, the glute area, into the pelvic area, again moving everything back towards the front in that groin. Then we can switch and do the same thing on the other side. Again, find a position that works well. If someone's able to lay on their back and have their leg up with gravity, that may be helpful. And it might be easiest for someone to do this in sitting so they can reach their leg a little bit easier. So we're starting with the thigh area from the knee all the way up to the hip, working large strokes 3 to 5 times. And then if we're in the back of the thigh or on the sides, we're starting to wrap that fluid around towards the front of the hip. Once we've done the thigh and done as much as we possibly can with each area, then we're going to start to work down back towards that knee. working around the bone, on the sides, and then also going back to doing circles or massages behind the knee to stimulate the lymph nodes and also get that fluid moving. After we've done the knee area, then we're working from the ankle all the way up to the knee, doing your 3 to 5 strokes on each side. Everything can work straight up from the ankle to the knee here. After we've done the lower leg, then we're going to work around the ankle area again. This is a stubborn area, as we've talked about, so spend some extra time as needed, working around the bones, working on top of the foot, and working also into the toes, either all the toes at once or each toe individually. And then once you're done with that, then we can start to work everything back up towards the lymph nodes. So we're moving back up to the ankle and then into the lower leg from the ankle to the knee. Doing your same strokes, you're thinking about guiding all of that fluid from the foot and the ankle upwards and out of the area. Once you've done what you need to in the lower leg, then we work that fluid behind the knee, out of that area, stimulating those lymph nodes, and also working in the front of the knee, wrapping that fluid around so it doesn't get clogged by any of those bones in there. And then we'll finish by working in the thigh area to get it out of the leg, working from the knee to the hip on each side with your hands 3 to 5 times. And when you get to the back of the leg, back of the thigh, start to work upwards, but also make sure that you wrap that fluid around towards the front, towards the lymph nodes. And then as we finish the thigh area, we can also finish around the pelvic area, the hips, the glutes, anything in that region. Finishing wrapping that fluid towards the front, towards those groin lymph nodes, and clearing out any last congestion. You can re-stimulate those lymph nodes, help keep them moving after moving all of that lymph fluid towards them. Re-stimulate the lymph nodes in the armpit area, making sure everything's moving and flowing well. And re-stimulate the lymph nodes around the head and neck area. So remember, all of the fluid in the body moves up toward this region before it goes back to the heart. And then we'll finish with 4 more deep breaths, hand on the belly. Take a nice big deep breath in, feel your belly expand into your hands before letting your breath go. And then we'll repeat that a few more times. Making sure you feel your belly expand, that pressure goes into your belly to help stimulate those deep lymph nodes. And that's a full body lymphatic drainage routine. I hope you all found this video helpful, and we'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, everyone.